women or black people or insert marginalized group will like make a massive stride or discovery, then like inspire a white person who will just end up building their fame on that reputation that they stole credit from. It's very common. I know that reaction videos can be pretty hit and miss, and if I ever react to a video that isn't explicitly one that I'm responding to, as in like, here, this person's going to make arguments, and I'm going to respond to them and argue against them, then I typically never upload those videos. However, I do want to get more into reaction content, but I want to do it in a way different than most Twitch streamers do it. The vast majority of Twitch streamers, if I'm being honest, just outright steal the content they're reacting to. Like they do not talk nearly enough for the content to be considered transformative. And honestly, it's pretty embarrassing. Some streamers even get up and just walk away while the video is playing. It's crazy. And while they do, they don't even show the name of the YouTuber or the title while they're at it. I wonder if you guys can guess which YouTuber did that. I do want to contribute real transformative reactions to any content that I do react to. That means long portions of me pausing and talking about what's being discussed to add something extra, so it's not just me watching the video and talking over it every once in a while. So yeah. Let's transform some content, huh? This video has been recommended to me both by YouTube and my fan base for a while now, and the thumbnail admittedly did catch my eye because it has a Confederate flag on it. However, this is The Rise and Fall of Truck Nuts by Vince Vintage, who has 106k subs, significantly more subs than me. But yeah, this actually doesn't have that many views. You know what? Here, as I should go drop a like on the Truck Nuts video. Go send some support. You know how it be. Let's learn about the rise and fall of Truck Nuts. For those of you guys that don't know, Truck Nuts. Wait, hypers in chat if you have no fucking clue what Truck Nuts are. So Truck Nuts are a pair of metal. It's just a metal nut sack that you hang off the back of your truck. It's considered something very douchey redneck dudes typically have, and a very common design of them is a pair of truck nuts with a Confederate flag painted onto it, like painted in the colors of the pattern and color of the Confederate flag. Very, very common. I don't actually know all that much about truck nuts other than they're a thing redneck douchebag dudes have. And the instant I saw someone who had them, it maybe got like a chuckle out of me just because the visual of like truck nuts is pretty funny. But then I immediately realized, yeah, but that dude's totally a douchebag. And I never talked to that person. Besides that, I don't know about the history of these things, but I'm interested to hear about the rise and the fall of truck nuts because frankly, I did not know there was ever a rise of truck nuts and certainly not a fall of them either. So I'm curious. My eye has been caught.
People love to customize their trucks, paint jobs, rim jobs, and hell, even truck nuts.
Rim jobs.
So you gotta ask yourself, what kind of person puts a pair of plastic nuts on the back of their truck? And better yet, who the hell would invent something like this? Well, it's a complex story of two men who went to war trying to monopolize the truck nut game between the corporate espionage, legal battles, and hell.
There was a patent war on truck nuts. Dude, I fucking love the internet. These are the type of rabbit holes I love getting just lost into. King Jar Jerk, thanks to Tier 1 subs, says truck nuts are a staple of American society. You have no idea what you're talking about. The disappearing of truck nuts is indicative of the fall of the West. That is true. I have no doubt that the extinction of the truck nut will no doubt lead to the fall of the West.
Hell, even death. These two men would duke it out for an entire decade over these. Now maybe to you or me this might seem a bit childish, but to these two men, these nuts were their livelihoods. This is the story of the Great Truck Nut War and the two men who would go to ridiculous, girthy lengths to build their truck nut empire. So what is a truck nut? Now maybe you've seen a pair swaying on the freeway, staring at you dead on in the eyes. And while today these might seem a bit grotesque with the veins and all, in the early 2000s, oh boy, these were all the rage. Much like frosted tips or tribal tattoos. It really was a
Yeah, I guess they were probably way more popular back in the 90s. That would have been before my time, but like I was in Florida the last time I saw a pair of truck nuts, and it was only a few years ago. Like, I've seen a pair of truck nuts back in Florida as recently as only a few years ago. So it's like, not that, like, they're not extinct or anything, but I guess this is more of a before my time thing. Before your time, lol, it was my time. I was born in 1999. Yes, the 90s were before my time. I don't get to be a 90s kid because I was born in 99, all right? Like halfway into 99, too. I was born more than halfway into 99. I was born in July.
Different time. Now, to understand the Great Truck Nut War, we need to look at the two big swingers in the game. Now, on one side, we have David Ham, a rebel, a Steve Jobs visionary.
I'm David, and I want to welcome you to the home of America's favorite online novelty nuts.
His company was called YourNutsWithAZ.com, and they would pride themselves on being the
I fucking love the aesthetic of like 90s boomer website or web design. Does anybody else love the aesthetic of like 90s boomer web design? It's an aesthetic that you know it when you see it. You know what I'm saying? You know it when you fucking see it. You know some goddamn boomer built this website back in like on Windows 98, you know?
the veiniest,
Heavy vein structure.
raunchiest
You've selected the baby blue big balls.
sack you could purchase for the back of your truck in all different shapes, sizes, materials, and
Oh my
colors.
god.
These are our granite nuts. The POW and MIA nuts. Again,
Hey chat. You're some like fucking, you're like a military wife, right? You're 19 years old, okay? Your 20-year-old husband is fighting in Afghanistan or something, I don't know. And you get a knock on your door and two men in suits arrive and you know what the deal is. You know either your husband's dead or he's been captured. And you know, you're pretty upset about it. Not necessarily as upset as you'd think you'd be, and that's because you've been cheating on your husband for 6 months while he's been deployed because you're a military wife. But you are still quite upset. So to signal support for your husband, who you just found out is now a prisoner of war, you buy some POW truck nuts to just, you know, signal your support for your prisoner of war husband. I'm sorry, ma'am. It reminds me of that one video. Hold on, wait.
It was low-key poggers.
If you've seen the video, you know. If you've seen the video, you know.
respectfully place the black ribbon on it. Check out the fine print on this, guys. These nuts donated $10.
16-inch set of
We call them
chrome
sienna.
Here we
have the desert granite. Again, very rough texture.
Okay, this is pussy shit, all right? If anything, you should be getting a giant, dragging, like, truck cock. It should just be a dick that hangs off the back of your truck, and it should be like the size...
Welcome to capitalism.
Anywhere ranging from the size of a normal dildo.
Oliver Zemo Asterisk has donated $5.
Thank you. I mean, you just get this effect by gluing a dildo to the back of your truck, but like, yeah, honestly, until we start putting fleshlights into exhaust pipes and dicks onto the back of trucks, I'm not respecting this culture, okay? I'm not respecting it.
Really nice. Oh, look at these. These are so nice. They are the kitchen nuts for you. Oh,
The fuck?
And on the other side of the ring, we have John Soller, more of a Bill Gates calculating type man. His company was bullsballs.com, and they prided themselves on being less veiny and having a bit more class with their truck nuts. But I have a question. How could you make this have more class? Please tell me that. Now, who actually came up with this revolutionary idea that would change the world? Now, David says he was at a desert race in the 1980s, and he had witnessed a pair of homemade truck nuts. He had found that there was a certain allure to placing your manhood on an inanimate object. And nearly a decade later, David had never forgotten about how those truck nuts...
Fuck you. Fuck you. That's the inspiration. Fuck you. It wasn't just the dude being like, hey, what if we made a fake ball sack to hang from the back of the truck? Wouldn't that be funny? That is absolutely how it happened. And if he's claiming that isn't how it happened, then The dude's lying to make the story sound more exciting. I'm sorry, I don't believe that for a moment.
Had made him feel, and he wanted to make other men feel that way as well. So after saving his
Yeah?
money for the last decade, he would
He
quit
wanted
his
to make
job,
other men
cash
feel
out
a
a
certain way?
401k, and start.
Yournuts.com.
Though the path that David chose was not an easy one, because his biggest problem was finding someone even willing to manufacture these nuts. Because mind you, this is during a time in the United States when it was illegal for sex toys in some states.
What?
So for nearly a year,
What?
David would meet
Wait, sex toys were illegal? In some states? Which states? Which states were sex toys illegal in? And which ones? Texas? Dildos were illegal in Texas? Why? And what would legally count as a dildo? Could you get like a silicone mold of your own cock and balls and use that? Would that be an illegal weapon? Okay, to be fair, my dick is a weapon. I don't know, yeah, like you're allowed to own weapons in Texas. Yeah, sodomy laws are pretty recent and very stupid. Hey chat, do you guys know what sodomy is? Any form of sexual penetration that isn't penis to vagina. That means blow jobs, foot jobs, tit jobs, anal, hand jobs, armpit jobs, elbow jobs, rim jobs, slim jobs, grim jobs, lib jobs, con jobs, drip jobs. All of those things count as sodomy, okay? Reach arounds, Alabama Hot Pockets, Kentucky Klondike bars, frozen Alaska pipelines, rusty trombones. Did I say that one already? Yeah, all these things count as sodomy. If it's not putting your dick into a vagina, it is sodomy, apparently.
meet with factory after factory, and he told them about his grand idea of these nuts, and they all told him no. And when David was about to throw in the towel...
I wonder if it counts as me doing sodomy if I fuck a girl in her vagina while she eats out another girl, because I've done that before. I wonder if that counts. Maybe it just makes the girl in the middle. Yeah, I don't know.
and give it all up, he received the call. Hell
That's
yeah,
just called
brother.
winning?
I'll make you some truck nuts.
You're damn right it's called winning.
Hell yeah, brother. Let's do it. David says it was a call that would change the world because these nuts were an absolute hit. Minutes within the website going live, thousands of plastic balls were flying off of the shelves and on the trucks all over the world. Blue nuts, gold nuts, big nuts, small nuts. People wanted David's nuts.
Hi, I'm David, and I want to show you my nuts.
And for him, his big bet, his big risk had paid off. And this would all make David an incredibly rich man.
I'm glad.
Selling these.
I'm glad.
Now, John Sawler's side of the story is
I forgot, the competitor.
Says on an afternoon, he was hill climbing with the boys, and as he's going up, he's starting to struggle. And then someone from the crowd yells, "Show him you got balls!" And the second those words entered John's ear, he had an out-of-body vision of pink plastic balls hanging and swaying from the back of his truck.
I like this story better.
And then it hit him. John knew he needed to make this vision a reality, so he would quit his job and start bullsballs.com. Now, John's vision just wasn't from thin air. It was actually deja vu for him. In the 1980s, he had actually found a grandmother making and selling homemade truck nuts on the side of the road, and John was inspired. And just like David, John Sawler would become an incredibly rich man from selling his Bulls balls. This is Billy. One night, Billy was at a rave dancing.
I'm curious to see how the conflict between these two men is to unfold. You'd think they could come together and form like a lol, they both stole it from a woman, of course. That's true. That is true. They both, assuming both stories are true, they both stole the ideas from women. They both got the idea from like random women who just like put some like grapefruit into some pantyhose and tied it to the back of their truck. Like, that is a common thing. That is a thing that's happened a lot, where like women or black people or insert marginalized group will like make a massive stride or discovery, then like inspire a white person who will just end up building their fame on that reputation that they stole credit from. It's very common.
With the ladies peeking hard, and all was well until one of Billy's ladies gave him a head massage and noticed that his hair looked a bit odd. Billy had been losing his hair for the last few months and had worn a wig to the rave. Embarrassed, Billy ran to the back.
This is gonna be a Keeps commercial. Yeah, it's a Keeps commercial. I'm sorry, we're not doing the Keeps commercial. I'll fucking I'll end it.
will too.
I'll
Hair
end
loss
it.
stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com.
He gets paid anyway, okay? Me not watching the sponsorship does nothing. He gets paid regardless.
/Vince Vintage or click the link in the description. That's keeps.com/Vince Vintage. So why are these so popular in the United States? You see, America's got a strange relationship with private parts. Showing them on TV? No. You're not allowed to do that. No. But hanging rubber vanny replicas on the back of your truck for the entire world to see, including little kids? That's 100% okay.
Yeah, so something that I've never experienced firsthand, because I've never left America, but I've only heard ubiquitously among everybody who's experienced it, is that America is very uncharacteristically prude when it comes to nudity in the human body. Like, nude beaches, for example, are a common thing in countries around the world. Like, women walking around topless in some places is not really seen as that big of a deal. The idea that, like, which is based, the idea that, like, covering yourself up is something that you have to do at all times is a very, very Americanized thing. And it's ironic, too, because other countries will have the reverse. Like, here in America, we're very big on action and gore and violence and whatnot. And we very, very much do not censor... we very much don't tend to censor violent or even sexually violent material much. In America, we've got very strong freedom of speech when it comes to that, but simply when it comes to nudity in general, we're very prude about it as a culture, despite not being anywhere near as prude about violence or gore or horror or anything like that. It's interesting. It's very interesting. My state has free toplessness. Yeah, I wouldn't, like, it's interesting because a lot of states do have, like you won't go to jail if you walk around just titties out, but, like, no one does it, which is a shame because I'd love to. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. God, can you imagine if in the States where women were just allowed to walk around topless, they just started doing it? Holy shit. I would have a boner 24/7. But maybe that would, like, be good, though. Like, if every dude was just always, like, anywhere between, like, half chub to full mass at all times just because they're constantly looking at titties and pussy and ass because every woman walking around is naked. Like, maybe it just means, like, for me at least, maybe it just means I'd end up fucking more. You know? Like, hey, I can't help that I got a big old boner. Yeah. Yeah, it is that big. Fuck you. You want it? Yeah, that'd be how that go. Yeah. That is a really weird thing about our culture. We are very prude. It's odd.
Okay. Well, maybe not everywhere. I know this is hard to believe, but some people were not fans of the truck nuts at first. Hell, some states even tried to pass laws to ban them. One case I found in South Carolina, a 65-year-old grandma, imagine this being your grandma, was pulled over, given a $500 ticket for having a veiny sack on the back of her truck. When the police chief pulled her over, he said, "Genitalia is offensive, and as a father, I would not want my daughter looking at that." Well, Mr. Police Chief, I hate to break it to you, but your daughter is gonna be in for a shock when she gets to college. What I find funny is that South Carolina will defend your right to display a Confederate flag all day long, but plastic nuts? That's too far, buddy. Now, there were dozens of cases like this
I wonder why.
all across the United States, and even with all this negative press, this would only make truck nuts way more popular. Now, the truck nut business was booming. It was hard, it was erect, and the stakes were growing higher. And neither John nor David's businesses took too kindly to one another. It wasn't a friendly business competition. They hated each other. Now, their beef started out with some angry phone calls and emails about who was the real inventor.
We better see these emails.
Was a copycat. And this was all just surface level stuff until the first shot was fired in the War of the Truck Nuts. Now, as more businesses were entering the truck nut game and taking a bigger slice of the pie, well, David wanted the whole goddamn thing. He wanted to be the Amazon of...
Okay, the truck nuts that are just the outline of a pair of nuts are lame. I'm sorry. If you're going to get truck nuts, go all the way. Fuck that.
The truck nut world and sell every brand that was competing against them. So he would launch all the nuts with the Z.com, and it would be your one-stop shop for anything truck nut related.
Hi, welcome to allthenuts.com, where you'll be able to find all the nuts on the internet. The big ones, the small ones, the veiny ones, the ones that hang with a chain, the ones that hang without a chain, the chrome ones, stainless steel ones, all the nuts right here.
And you can tell they're metal because they're hard. They're hard.
Every brand of truck nut, antenna topper, stickers,
The bumper stickers,
Interesting
they're close
advertising.
enough to see my nuts,
Especially for the
might as well
90s.
climb in my bed. And then there's the support our troops with the big nuts hammer crushing the Islamic terrorists.
And even his sworn enemy's brand, Bulls Balls. If you can't beat him, might as well sell him. Though David's #1 competitor, Bulls Balls, caught on and they refused to sell on his site. So David had to find a creative way to get his hand on those precious nuts. Okay, here's a whacked out David Ham is. He flies out to California to the Bulls Balls headquarters. He goes undercover, fake mustache, and hell, even a fake name, Bozzy Willis. He walks in and tells the manager, I want to wholesale some nuts. But the manager heard Bozzy's voice from somewhere, maybe from a video he once saw.
Why not
online
fake an
or something
accent?
like that. So the manager hits him back with, do people call you by another name, Bozzy? Do they also call you David Ham? Damn it. David Ham's cover was blown. So with his tail and his metaphorical nuts tucked in between his legs, security had to escort him out of the building, and without his Bulls Balls in hand. Though all of this would undeter David, because even without their permission, he would still put up a listing for Bulls Balls
It's like he's trying to get the fucking Krabby Patty secret formula.
on allthenuts.com. And then Bulls Balls just happened to be sold out. A classic bait and switch to get people to buy David's nuts. Now, John Soller was pissed. He wasn't gonna take
Nuts.
So we post a manifesto on his own website calling out David Ham and the scrupulous Ham gang for all of their
Wait. Because he couldn't get his hands on any of the Bulls Balls nuts to sell on his own website, basically to steal and resell, I guess. Why would he do that in the first place? What's the point? Oh, 2008? It's not even the 90s? This happened not that long ago. Jesus.
shenanigans.
Hard to
After
make.
getting
How?
called out by your competitor in a truly public nut bashing, David Ham would get down and dirty with it. So he would go around and leave thousands of fake reviews online, hundreds of forums, even blogs that David Ham made himself called Truck Nut Balls, Reporter 666, and even Bulls Ball Info. Now what David was doing was he was hijacking the search results for Bulls Balls. So when anyone searched for Bulls Balls, they would pull up all of David Ham's blogs.
This
all
should
of
be
these
illegal.
Negative reviews. All
This
of
should be
is
illegal.
happening, and John Soller's getting more pissed off. And honestly, this was a targeted harassment campaign against him. So he would release the Kraken and fight the final battle in the Great War of the Truck Nuts. So the two would duke it out in a 20,000 word, 300 comment exchange, all in the public view on ripoffreport.com. I'm not kidding, there are hundreds of comments of them two going back and forth. Calling one out for being a felon, calling one out for being a scammer, one
Jesus.
for being a liar, one for being a cheater. We're talking hundreds of insults, bad press, and just straight up slander. It was an intense battle for two boomers online in the 2000s who barely knew how to use the web. And it was
Our
all
battle will
over
be
the news.
legendary.
Now, by 2013, this stuff was getting pretty gnarly, so a peace agreement would be signed when John and David both got their attorneys involved and sent cease and desist letters to one another, and that shut them both up. So at that point, after this war of attrition, John Soller was done. He was over it. So he decided it was time for him to step down from his nut empire. And just 1 year later, he passed away. But this war went to the death for John Ham, because when he heard
He died a year after he quit doing truck nuts. The loss of his truck nut career killed him. He died from a broken heart, losing his nut career. That's so sad.
the news of his rival of almost 1 decade had passed away, quote verbatim, he said this, "Wow, he's dead. That's amazing."
Oh.
So what's there to be taken from this story? Who really won in the end? I'll tell you. The customer won. Because throughout their fierce business rivalry, we saw business competition improve the product, make it better, more colors, stronger,
Oh, they
better
glow in the
materials,
dark.
carbon nanotube nuts. Hell, even
Carbon
cyber truck
fiber.
nuts exist today. And
Cyber
this is
nuts.
all because of that competition fostered between John and David. Now, what's funniest about all of this is that while John and David were battling it out for this entire decade, a third company actually came in and picked up all the pieces and
Oh,
never got
shit.
involved in the drama. And now that company is #1 in the truck nut game.
Oh,
And that
God.
company is called Moose Knuckles.
What? The moose knuckle truck nuts ended up being the most popular? That's bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. Listen, the truck nut thing is like pretty ingrained into Floridian culture, especially where I grew up and when I grew up. Like, I saw a lot of truck nuts on the road when I was a kid, so it's actually not that surprising that it was a more like 2000s kind of popular thing and maybe early 2010s. Sad that one guy died. Like, it seemed like, I guess, of a broken heart from losing his career. What a sad ending. Jesus, real life doesn't have happy endings, I guess. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, ring the bell icon, like the video. It helps out my channel, me, and the video a lot. On top of that, be sure to go watch the original video. I have it linked down below. At least go send a like, comment, or subscribe to them. They make good content, and we did react to it, so you guys should go send some support so, you know, it's not just like me stealing his content. With that said, regardless of how you support me, I really do appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one.